Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, my dear brothers, sisters, viewers. Welcome back to part 2 of this very, very special edition of Real Talk. I want to bring this subject of the life and times of Hazrat Moulana Yusuf Sahab, rahmatullah, who was a huge influence on the development of Islam, not just in this country, just like Hafiz Patel. He actually changed the focus of Islam and brought a new focus of Islam into the United Kingdom. But the impact of that, just like Hafiz Sahab and his Tabligh Jamaat movement, has not only been felt locally in the United Kingdom, but throughout Europe and the North Americas and South America. And I'm talking to Hazrat Maulana Abdul Rahim Limbada Sahab, one of Hazrat's students. And those who have not heard of who Hazrat Moulana Yusuf Sahab is, if you really want to know how Islam developed and grew in this country, I would strongly urge you to look at three personalities actually, Hafiz Patel Sahab, Hazrat Moulana Yusuf Sahab, and Moulana Qavi Sahab, Moulana Yaqub Qavi Sahab, for whom I've already done a program. These three people, including some of my colleagues in the other community, in the Deobandi community, those who've been here from the 60s and 70s, though will admit that these three people actually revived Islam in this country. Before they came here, Islam was not as strong and as powerful as it is now. The study of Islam was hardly there, and the following of Islam was not as powerful as it is now. So I've been doing this program. Now, we talked about Abdul Limbada Sahab. He's been telling us about how the Hazrat set up the Darul Bari. But Hazrat himself was a unique person.
True.
He was a man, as you said, of extraordinary vision. A man who was so calm that, every time I came to see him, he just oozed calmness. Right? When you see him, he gave you this natural feeling of calmness in yourself.
Yes, it was like
and
that.
when
extremely composed.
Oh yes, very composed. And I knew when he went to
nothing could shake him.
No.
कोई हिला नहीं सकती थी.
Exactly.
Hazrat, he was very strong and firm on his research, views,
yes,
and his intentions. Like, we used to go for Umrah with Hazrat. Now, when we go from hotel to the Haram Sharif, right, we just follow Hazrat.
Obviously.
Now, when crossing the road, Hazrat would say, stand here, look carefully. When the cars stop, or when there's no cars, then start crossing. Then, once you put your foot on the road to cross, then don't hesitate, don't stop, just keep going. No matter what happens, someone comes here, the car will stop.
Yes.
So we learn from there that you should think carefully and then take that step and keep moving, don't stop.
Right.
See, it's a small lesson from Hazrat's life.
Right.
You were asking about, Hazrat's struggles and things.
Yes.
I was thinking about, Hazrat's whole life was filled with struggles. Because Hazrat was like yatim, orphan. Right? His father had gone into the state of jazb, fana, annihilation.
Right.
And he stayed in that state for 16 years.
Sure.
So Hazrat did not have a father figure over his head.
Right.
And he didn't grow up in his father's home in Vareti.
Right.
He came to Nani Naroli with his mother.
Right. Sure.
And he grew up with his khalas.
Right. Right.
So
Nani Naroli, for those who don't know, is a small village in the state of Gujarat.
Yeah, near Tarkeswar, where the famous Darul Uloom is,
Yeah.
Falah Darain. So Falah Darain, Tarkeswar is in the middle, Vareti is on that side, and Nani Naroli is on this side.
Right.
So, sometimes when talking about Hazrat Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and at 6 years of age, how he lost his mother and how he must have felt. Hazrat would say, I look at my Sulaiman, he's also 6 years old. I look at myself, how I was, Hazrat at 6 years old. He was like a yatim. He didn't have a father figure. His mother had to go to South Africa.
Right.
Now, she didn't want to leave her two sons, one Hazrat Abdul Rahim Sahab and our Hazrat, but there was no other choice. The family had, decided that her sister had died in South Africa, so she was married to, her brother-in-law,
Right, yeah.
and she had to go there and leave these two
The
behind.
two boys behind.
So the grandparents and her khalas brought Hazrat.
They raised them. Achha,
He
achha.
raised. And Hazrat, you grew up in a very, you could say outwardly less fortunate environment.
Mhm.
This is why, we see many times Hazrat had to take qarz, loan.
Mm.
Even when going to Saharanpur, to pay for the tickets, he had to take loan.
Right.
And then he would pay off that loan.
Sure.
Even when he got married and he came here in 1968,
Mhm.
he had to take loan for his ticket.
Right.
And then slowly he paid off that loan
Right.
and debt. Even after marriage, when he had to go to visit Hazrat Sheikh Zakaria Rahmatullah alayhi in Medina, and he used to take qarz debt
Mhm.
and pay for his tickets and then come back and slowly pay it off.
Right.
So Hazrat was always in debt throughout
Mm.
those earlier days of Hazrat. So Hazrat went through a lot of struggles in the beginning, and he was a very strong person. Allah,
He must have
when
been.
Allah wants to make someone strong, He puts them through these hardships right from early age. We see in the Seerat of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he's yatim,
Yes.
right? But this yatimi made him stronger.
Mm.
So Hazrat was also mentally very strong because he had gone through those struggles.
Mm.
So when Hazrat comes here, gets married, Hazrat used to, Hazrat's wife Khala Jan,
Ji.
Hafizahullah, may Allah protect her, give her good health, still lives in Preston. She used to live in Preston on Skeffington Road. And in the early days of 1968,
Ji, ji.
I mean, Hazrat was born in 1946,
Achha.
25th of November, 1946, corresponding
Achha.
to the 1st of Muharram.
Ji, ji.
So, Hazrat,
Did he come to Preston first?
Yeah, he came to Preston
Right.
first.
Achha.
He got married. His nikah, Khala Jan is a distant relative of Hazrat.
Ji, ji.
So the family arranged that marriage.
Mhm.
And Hazrat made mashwara with Hazrat Sheikh and family wale, khandan wale ye rishta. Hazrat ka bilkul beshak jao. And Hazrat gave him his blessings, and then, it was his last Ramzan, so Hazrat wanted to spend it there. But Hazrat said, no, go home, spend Ramzan with your father and do his khidmat, because after Ramzan you got to go to UK.
Mhm.
So Hazrat, by hukam, Hazrat Sheikh sent him over. So Hazrat came. His father was in the state of jazb, but he stayed there. And his father, in spite of that state of jazb, he used to say very hakimana kalam words.
Mhm.
Once our Hazrat related that, the Imam Sahib of the Variety Masjid
Ji.
used to go and visit Hazrat father, who confined to one small room like this studio.
Ji.
It wasn't bigger than this studio, his house. In fact, half of this room. So I was sitting there, and Hazrat's father said, Yusuf, London jai rela se, tame emni dawat nahi ki thi. So Imam Sahib said, "Awe Mauli Sahib, घर में अंदर हो तो मस्जिद में क्या दियो जलावे?" So Hazrat's father
When
said,
it's dark in the house,
yeah.
why light up the masjid?
So I will translate it.
Yeah.
So Hazrat's father replied, भाई घर में अंधारू होई ने मस्जिद में दियो जलावे तो आज खुदरत राजी थाई.
MashaAllah.
So words of wisdom from
Yeah,
him.
MashaAllah. Yeah.
And Imam Sahib, have you done his dawat? He's going to London to get married. Imam Sahib said, there's darkness in the house, how can I put light in the masjid? And Hazrat's father said, if there's darkness in the house and you put light in the masjid, that's what makes Qudrat razi and happy, making Allah. That's what pleases Allah.
Yes, sir.
So Hazrat's father was also a Ajib person.
Mhm.
In his early life, Hazrat's father had a small shop
Achha.
in Variety, and he used to do business, but he was a very honest person. I was in Variety, I went to Gora Mota Hansa, my mommy's father, and he's related to Hazrat's father,
Sure,
distant relative here. So I was sitting with him, and he started talking about Hazrat's father. And he said that they used to call him Suleiman Seth.
Sure.
So when Hazrat's father used to go to Surat for shopping,
Mm.
so the wholesalers, they would love him.
Right.
Suleiman Seth hai here, Suleiman Seth hai here, Suleiman Seth is here. And then Hazrat's father would, buy his stuff, sweets and whatever goods he needed to buy. And then he would ask, how much? And when payment comes, there's so many pounds and so many paise, so many rupees and so many paisa.
Yeah.
So Hazrat's father would give the paisa first, and then the rupees. So the shopkeeper, the wholesale man, he would say that, leave the paisa, just give me the rupees. He said, no. Paisa pehla devana, ye to tomorrow nafo.
Right.
That's your profit.
Yeah.
He would never ask for discount, never ask for reduction in price. Whatever they said, he would pay exact amount, no reduction. That's why all the wholesalers loved him.
Right.
And he used to do business halal in a proper way. And then Hazrat's father got bayat to this Naqshbandi Sheikh, Sheikh Abdul Naqshbandi. And after doing the azkar and awrad, he went to in this state of jazb, annihilation, fanaiyat from this dunya, nothing to do with this dunya.
Right.
This stage.
So he sort of locked himself away in a way.
Locked him away.
And
how he used to eat, drink, we don't know. Yeah. And his mother was also very pious. And Hazrat had both parents' du'as behind him.
Yeah,
and that's what made Hazrat who he was.
I mean, whenever I went to see Hazrat, obviously, in my lifetime, when first I got the Queen's sort of appointment as a Deputy Lieutenant, I was asked, got 1 week within which to accept it or not. And I thought I better ask Hazrat about his views. And I met him at the Qabristan in Blackburn, luckily. Somebody passed away and I went there. And I said to Hazrat, I've had a request by Her Majesty the Queen to become a Deputy Lieutenant of West Yorkshire, the first Muslim male Deputy Lieutenant in the whole of the north of England. And he said, what have you said? I said, I've said to them, give me a week. And I want your mashwara to help me decide whether I should take it or not. And he very calmly asked me, he says, Iqbal bhai, how many Muslim are there? I said, nobody. He said, how many Gujarati Muslim? I said, nobody. And he said, you'll be the first one. I said, yes, I will. He says, Bismillah wa layliyo. I said, just take the position and I'll tell you why. If you don't take it, somebody else will take it. Whether they will represent us properly or not, we've got no idea. So inshallah with you, you will represent us in a good light. So on the basis of Hazrat's guidance, I took it. And then when I was awarded the OBE by the government of that time, again I asked Hazrat, Hazrat, I've been given the honor of being an OBE, and do I take this, what do I do? Because there were people at that time who were unhappy with the government's previous history, colonialism, and the slavery, etc. And some people had rejected it. And again he said to me, he says, look, not many people from our school of thought get the opportunity to do this. And maybe it'll be a good opportunity for you to take it and maybe showcase it to other people as well. So then I accepted it. So I have been, I may not be as pious, never be as pious as Hazrat Moulana Abdul. May Allah forgive me.
Allah knows who's pious.
May Allah forgive me. But one of the things not many people know, maybe even you won't know, if anybody has got the system at home where you can hear the azan from the masjid, I actually developed that system with partnership with the government. It took me 10 years. Every step of the way, I came to Hazrat and asked his guidance.
And a transmitter system.
The transmitter system.
MashaAllah.
I still have all the documentation. It took me 10 years of fighting with the government, and finally they accepted it, they agreed it. And that's, if you remember, Hazrat, the first license issued in this country is on the government's record, is of Darul Bari. And if there was a pole with an aerial on top.
Yes.
At that time, Moulana Salim Dorat and Moulana Shaukat Dadiwala were students, and they used to see me come there with a ladder, go up on the roof, put the pole up, put the aerial up, and sort of tested it. There's a lot of things happen after that. But every step of the way, I went to Hazrat, and Hazrat kept saying to me, Iqbal Sahab, Iqbal Bhai, whatever happens, just don't stop, get this done. By hook or by crook, you get it done. And Allah, there's a long story how it actually happened eventually. We won't go into that, because Allah works in very mysterious ways, and the way it happened is also a story. But the focus is Hazrat, and it shows how I had a lot of respect for Hazrat, and he sort of helped me guide all that time. And as you said, others said, nah, we don't want this system. It'll stop people coming into masjids. Right? They won't be coming to masjid and listening to bayan. And Hazrat view was completely opposite. He says, this system could actually spread knowledge in Islam across the families and towns and cities. And now it's universal. People in New Zealand, Canada, Barbados, and places have got them as well. But yeah, that's how it happened. So Hazrat was very...
once someone in Preston saw this dream.
Yeah.
And myself, Moulana Abdul Rahim, is in Preston and he's driving that Limber's van which goes out to deliver milk.
Okay.
They have this business of delivering milk.
Right.
So I was driving the van and I was delivering milk to people's homes. So I asked someone or they asked Hazrat. I asked Hazrat or someone asked Hazrat. Hazrat, ये ख्वाब इसका क्या मतलब? It's बहुत अच्छा ख्वाब है. It's very nice ख्वाब.
Right.
It means that Moulana Abdul Rahim Sahib will spread ilm in Preston because milk is ilm. So delivering ilm is delivering milk.
Bilkul.
Now, that same year in Ramzan, they called me over for tafsir after Taraweeh. So I went for the whole month. Every day after Taraweeh, I used to pray Taraweeh, lead Taraweeh in Darul Bari, and I used to rush to Preston and get there by the time their Taraweeh finishes. After I will do tafsir. And your transmitter system is in every house. And everyone in their home is listening to that tafsir. So we are delivering that ilm to everyone's house.
Bilkul.
So Hazrat was here is amazing ta'bir, interpretation ability. And what can you talk about Hazrat's sifat and qualities, ajib personality?
I mean, obviously, he's greatly missed at the moment, and I feel there's a huge deficit in the in Islam now, without his presence here. But I mean, to you, I mean, obviously he was your ustad, your teacher.
Everything.
Everything.
Hazrat was everything. Without Hazrat, we are zero.
Right. But I mean, his influence in spreading Islam, particularly in North America. I mean, the Darul Uloom in Buffalo, for example.
Yeah.
There's a Darul Uloom in Buffalo. Now there's one in Toronto as well, I think. And they're spreading across the North American continent. And as I say, when I go to America, my daughter lives in America, my wife's from Canada. Virtually every masjid I go to, I find that the imam of that masjid is somebody from Darul Bari.
Yeah, or somebody who studied under somebody from Darul Bari.
Exactly. Now,
so the connection goes back to Hazrat.
Now,
in UK, you see, imams and madaris, right? We see Hazrat Moulana Salim Dorat Sahib in Leicester, Mufti Abdul Samad Sahib in Blackburn, Moulana Fazl Sahib in Lancaster. They've all got their own Darulums, but they are all Hazrat students.
They're all students of
so
Hazrat.
their faiz and sawab is, the sawab is going back to Hazrat.
Oh, definitely.
Because Hazrat is the one who nurtured them and who made them who they are. And you'll get many more examples of like this in every community.
Oh, yeah.
This is just 2-3 examples.
I mean, for people of Bradford, for example, Maulana Hayat Khan, Maulana Fazal Dad,
Sheikh Ahmad Ali.
Muhammad Ali, they're all students of Hazrat as well.
Yes.
Right? And they're doing some amazing work in the city of Bradford. And there are hundreds of people like that across the whole of the country.
This is one thing about Hazrat. Hazrat would never sit idle. He would be busy. And he nurtured us to keep busy, to do the work of deen. And this is khubi and beauty in the graduates of Darul Bari. That alhamdulillah, they went out and they're working hard.
Yes.
And not everyone, but those who are working so hard for the community, they are in one way or the other connected to Darul Bari. Either students of Bari, graduates of Bari, or students of graduates of Bari.
Yes.
So this is, the barakat of our Hazrat, his endeavors, his efforts, his nurturing, he's creating within us that fikr and Quran and lagan and dun for the community. How can we benefit the community? What's the best we can do for the community? So he taught the likes of Mufti Shabir Sahab, Hazrat Moulana Bilal Sahab, right? And other akabir.
Oh, there's many.
And he had many ulama around him, like Hazrat Moulana Hashim Sahab. And
who's not been well. He's
not well.
Allah bless him with good health.
And also other akabir around him as teachers, right? Who were around him all the time. Hazrat was Hazrat ajib personality.
He also started developing and establishing satellites. So, for example, Kidderminster was one of the satellites that he wanted to develop. The girls' madrasa in Bradford, which Ismail Raja is the principal of. I mean, those are all sort of visions of the Hazrat.
Correct.
And as a result of that, we are seeing lots of young Muslim women, sisters coming out from those institutions, now and spreading Islam as well. And they're teaching now. We never had Muslim teachers, female sisters teaching. Now we've got these teachers, not just in our madrasas, but also across other industries as well, particularly in education. So Hazrat, I mean, you know, I could carry on with this, and I'm sure you could as well. I mean, Hazrat not only worked very closely with the Muslim community, but he also had a very close working relationship with the non-Muslims as well. And he interacted with the local authorities and other people as well. And he saw that as quite an important part of his work, didn't he?
Yes. We, for example, we used to have regular open days.
Right.
Where we invite the mayor, the MPs and councillors and everyone. We used to have visits from local schools, the primary, secondary, and you know, teachers would bring in their classes who are in the RE lessons. So when they have this Islamic workshop, they say, let's go to Bari, Darul. And Alhamdulillah, we would sit with them in the Jamaat Khana, we would bring them samosa, pakoda, tea, biscuit, and then, you know, we would show them around. If they were going through the project of, let's say, Salah, so we would give practical demonstration of Salah, and the kids would find it fascinating, and they would, be interested in Islam. In fact, sometimes I remember some kids writing back and saying, like, you believe in this and you do this. I believe in all that as well. So that makes me a Muslim too. That means I'm a Muslim as well.
Right, mashallah.
And this is due to the barakat Hazrat allowed us to have that relationship with the neighbors and the surroundings. So Hazrat was a early person.
And all his neighbors were non-Muslims.
Yes.
Yes, I remember you saying, Baba, I sent Christmas cards to them as well.
Yes.
You know, and that is something that the mark of the person.
Seasonal greetings.
Yes.
You would say on the cards.
Seasonal greetings.
Seasonal greetings, which is pictures of trees and
exactly.
Nothing that would be deep
related
cross or something like that. But seasonal greeting, we would send kids to, deliver cards. Sometimes to neighbors, sometimes give them chocolate or biscuit as well. Hadiya gift.
I hope, I mean, we come to the end of the program. We could carry on talking for, in my view, and I'm sure Moulana Abdul Rahim Limbada Sahib could as well entertain you with some amazing stories of the Hazrat. I would love to carry on this conversation. I think he deserves a much more longer and wider.
Inshallah, we'll sit down again.
Inshallah. You are the most difficult person to get hold of because you're so busy with your international travels as well. But Hazrat, thank you very much.
Inshallah, we'll arrange some more
programs. Thank you very much.
No problem.
I hope you found this
pleasure
fascinating.
To have you. Thank you so
Anybody
much.
who wants to know more about the Darul Bari and the man behind it, who spread Islam, not just in this country, but as I say, in Europe and across the world, just like Hafiz Saab did with Tabligh Jamaat. Hazrat Moulana Yusuf Mutala Sahib is one of the icons of the Muslim world in the United Kingdom. And I think every one of us need to remember his legacy and him in our du'as. May Allah give him the highest place in Jannah. His family, sabr, his children, I've never met them before, but he's got children afterwards. May give them sabr and strength as well. And inshallah, I'll see you soon. Take care. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.